So the first official demon rules have been announced by Warhammer community today. Demon saves are confirmed, and we've got some new profiles for the Bloodletters and the Horrors. Hello and welcome back to Warspets Tactics, where today we're talking Demons once more. The next codex that's going to be coming out for Warhammer 40k, and so far we haven't had any official previews of rules for them, only these bits and bobs that have been coming out from leaks on Discord and YouTube. I'll hopefully be doing another roundup of those in the next day or so feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see that. But today I thought we'd focus on the Warhammer community article, things that are 100% confirmed to be in the new codex. First up, they basically started by confirming one of the new core mechanics of the Demons Codex, Daemonic Invulnerability it's called. These are these new rumoured demon saves that were coming out in the leaks. Currently, the units in Chaos Demons have a 5+ invul save just about throughout. A few units have slightly better ones, like Tzeentch for example, and a few units also have an armor save as well on top of that, say for example the Bloodthirster of Khorne. It seems that pretty much across the board all of that's going to be replaced by a new couple of save characteristics. Now we know that it's officially called Daemonic Invulnerability, and they basically get one save for being attacked in close combat, and one save for being attacked at range, but that save can't be modified in any way. From all the leaks and the two profiles that Games Workshop have officially unveiled, it does seem that the melee one is usually the same or worse than the ranged one. I feel like that's quite an interesting bit of game design, to be honest. A lot of demon armies would be quite sad if they're just shot to bits from across the battlefield before they get into combat, as combat tends to be generally where they get the job done best. It doesn't go for everything, but it does seem that you're going to get more value out of your units if you manage to get them to engage the demons in melee, as opposed to just blow them to bits from long ranges. We did talk about this before when it came out in the leaks, but essentially this is better than an invul save rather than being the same as one. Having an unmodifiable saving throw basically means that you ignore enemy AP, and it does mean that certain units that can ignore invul saves in the game, say for example the Catan Shard of the Nightbringer, or Space Marines or Chaos Marines taking Null Zone or Death Hex, that basically won't have any effect on the demons, and they'll still be getting their saves even if you hit them with those spells. They don't make any allusion to these saves working on mortal wounds or anything like that, so you should still be able to hoover them off the board with Smite and any other interesting tricks that your codex has. But basically, as before, AP is going to be near useless against the Demon Codex. It sounds like even the units that had a regular save before, like Bloodthirsters, aren't going to be getting one anymore. They're all just going to be consolidated into this Demon save profile. For the most part, I think that this looks like pretty good news for Demons players. Most of these saves seem a little bit better than the normal 5+ invul save that they were getting before. Maybe not every single unit's going to have a flat upgrade in durability, but it seems like the majority will be. If they're non-modifiable though, then they won't be getting anything from light cover, the same as before for most of them I suppose. But they should still be able to make good use of things like woods for dense cover I guess. They have shown us off a couple of examples in the Bloodletters and the Horrors that we'll get onto in a second, but just from the leaks it sounds like the gods have various themes with these. For example, Tzeentch being far better at range than in combat, and apparently a few of the more elite Khorne units get a 4+ save both at range and in melee. I wouldn't be surprised if Slaanesh and Nurgle were a bit more on the 5+ save sort of range of things. I feel like Nurgle might be having more of its durability in extra wounds and extra toughness as opposed to these saves. It's a pretty interesting idea though, and I think it's a pretty cool solution to stopping demon units getting shot off the board too early. As before though, I do find it kind of amusing that they've just put too many things that ignore invul saves in the game, that they need to make a super invul save that ignores those abilities. I guess when your entire faction's survivability depends on invul saves though, going up against something that ignores them would basically just ruin it and make it for a bit more of a one-sided game. Moving on to the previewed units though, Bloodletters look like they're getting an all-round stat line improvement, hopefully making them a bit more of a genuinely dangerous battle line of Khorne. Currently, if you're fielding foot-slogging Bloodletters, they just don't really work all that well as a main battle line, which I think is quite sad. They're not terrible in combat for the points cost, but they are pretty abysmal in terms of durability. With a toughness 3 and a 5+ invul save, it just means that things like bolters will absolutely ruin them. It kind of puts them into the niche of just coming in as Bloodletter bombs from Deep Strike, using a Banner of Blood for a near auto charge from reserve, which is still fairly powerful and pretty disturbing to have that many OBSEC troops cutting up your elites. It looks like with this stat line change that Games Workshop maybe is trying to make them into a bit more of a battle line unit that you can potentially march up the board. They've gained a lot of toughness, a toughness 4 and a 4+ demon save at range, the 5+ remains in melee though, and they also seem to be a lot more dangerous on their own base profile, a strength of 5 and 2 attacks, and from the leaks it said that Hellblades were supposedly going to be going to damage 2, so they will be pretty vicious at chewing through Space Marines. The only debuff on their stat line is that their leadership has dropped to 6 apparently, though I wouldn't be too surprised if their squad sergeant Blood Reaper still retains a leadership of 7, so things might not really have changed all that much on that front. Still though, if they're going to be fielded in squads of 10, then they could be very susceptible to morale still. Orcs will tell you that leadership 7 on fairly big infantry units isn't really a great combo. Otherwise, from the leaks, they said that when things all come together, Bloodletters can just be ridiculously threatening, even a small squad of them. One of the things that they talked about was the Blood Throne, giving them reroll 1s to wound and 6s to hit auto wound. Both of those seem pretty nice at getting even more of those damage 2 attacks through. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see for the rest of the Codex whether or not they wind up actually being good, but this certainly seems like a decent improvement to them. We'll just have to see if it reflects too much in their points cost. Otherwise, Games Workshop have also given us the stat line for the Pink Horrors, maybe a bit more of a general purpose demon unit compared with the Bloodletters at the moment. They are really quite tough, which makes them a bit more usable as a battle line to hold objectives. Plus you can warp surge them as well, giving them an extra +1 to their saves, so a 3+ save against shooting can really allow them to cling on to objective as well. Some demon lists also like to keep a few reinforcement points free for them as well to allow them to split into blue and brimstone horrors. If it makes the difference between the squad surviving on an objective or not doing so, then all well and good. As well as that, they can put out some fairly decent anti-infantry shooting with a whole bunch of flickering flame shots, botched by a herald and a spell, and they'll actually do a fair bit of damage. Statline wise, again they seem to have got 3 different changes here. Previously in the Demon Codex, Tzeentch Demons got a 4+ invul save at range and melee. This seems to be very much divided now, in that they get a big 3+ save against ranged attacks, but only a 6+ save against melee. Essentially having a 3+ invul at range is really big, to be honest. It means you're going to have masses of volume fire to put them down, and a 3+ invul is really powerful if the opponent wants to use a command point reroll. You get a very decent chance of turning a fail into a pass if you desperately need one. If this holds true on all the bigger Tzeentch demons like Lords of Change as well, then they're going to be an absolute pain to put down with ranged shooting. On the other hand though, only having a 6+ save in melee really is going to reward you whenever you can get a combat unit into them. Previously they could be a bit of a meaty block that could hold up just about anything, whether or not they were attacked at range or in combat, and now that's just not going to be the case. I guess it's going to be a bit more important that they get screened by the other demon units, fire out some flickering flames from the back, but not actually get cut up by blades themselves. Otherwise, their shooting is going to be getting a ballistic skill of 3+. We don't know the new profile of their flickering flames yet, but I wouldn't be too surprised if it also got amped up. And again, like the Bloodletters, the standard pink horror drops to leadership 6, though I'd guess that their iridescent horror might well still have a leadership 7. Finally, Games Workshop did confirm that they would be able to split into 2 horrors somehow, though didn't really say exactly how. From the leaks, apparently this will happen on a 5+ roll each time a horror dies. That seems like a fairly good balance to me. Not every single horror is splitting, so you don't need twice as many blue horrors as you have a squad of pink horrors. That just seems really obnoxious to get together model-wise, to be honest. But it does mean that if the squad's attacked, then in theory you should get a healthy amount of blue horrors coming through, though not just flat out doubling the unit. I do wonder whether those blue horrors will also get the same rule for splitting down into brimstone horrors. It could make these guys just remarkably durable against shooting if that also stacks with their 3+ save at range. I'm going to guess that their points cost will be going up a little bit due to this. A decent chance to generate free models looks like it's going to be pretty amazing value. In any case, looks like fun changes. Would have been kind of nice to know exactly what the flickering flames do there. So generally good stuff coming out for the demons, I think. Let me know what you think of the previewed rules down in the comments below. What do you make of the split demonic saves, or the new stat lines for the Bloodletters or the pink horrors? If you've enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics, where I'll certainly try and keep up with Games Workshop's previews and all the leaks coming out from other sources. I do try and post 40k videos just about daily, and I'll certainly keep up with the demonic news. Finally, if you have been enjoying all the videos on the channel, I would just like to mention that Auspex Tactics does have a Patreon page as well, and you can find that down in the video description. Channel patrons do get a fair few advantages, seeing certain videos early, regular votes to see what sort of things come next on the channel, and automatic entry into the regular prize giveaways with a chance to win some big model kits each month. If any of that sounds good to you, or you'd just like to help support, the link is down in the video description. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.